Breaking news for every Social Security recipient watching this right now. If you're expecting your $2,400 payment tomorrow, there's something critical you need to understand before that money hits your account. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. My name would have been Charlie Munger, and I spent decades studying how money works, how institutions operate, and most importantly, how ordinary people get blindsided by changes they didn't see coming. This isn't about panic. This is about preparation. And if you're counting on that payment tomorrow, whether you're on retirement, SSI, or SSDI, the next few minutes could save you from a financial mistake that catches millions of Americans off guard every single year. Stay with me, because what I'm about to explain affects your budget, your bills, and your peace of mind for the next 30 days. Let me be clear about something right from the start. This channel exists for one reason: to give Social Security recipients the truth in plain English, without the jargon, without the runaround, and without leaving you more confused than when you started. I built my career on understanding incentives, and here's the incentive behind this video. I want you to make better decisions with your money. I want you to see around corners. I want you to avoid the traps that come from not understanding how the system actually works. The Social Security Administration doesn't always make it easy. The rules change, the schedules shift, and sometimes the very people who depend on these payments the most are the last ones to get clear answers. So if you're a senior, if you're on disability, if you're receiving SSI or SSDI, or if you're helping a loved one navigate this system, hit that subscribe button right now, because every week we break down exactly what's happening with your benefits, your payments, and your rights. You deserve to know what's coming, and you deserve to hear it from someone who respects your intelligence. Now let's talk about tomorrow. Here's what's happening. If you're a Social Security recipient and your payment is scheduled to land tomorrow, you're likely expecting around $2,400 or whatever your individual benefit amount is. That money is real. It's coming. But here's the part most people miss. This payment is early, and when a payment comes early, it's not a bonus. It's not extra. It's a shift in the schedule, and that shift has consequences you need to plan for. Let me explain how we got here. The Social Security Administration follows a strict calendar. Payments are typically distributed based on your birth date on the second, third, or fourth Wednesday of each month. But here's the exception. When a scheduled payment date falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, the SSA moves that payment forward to the last business day before the holiday. So if your payment was supposed to arrive on a date that conflicts with a federal holiday or weekend, the SSA doesn't make you wait. They send it early. That's good news in the short term. You get your money sooner. But here's what trips people up: that early payment counts for the upcoming month, not this one. Let me say that again, because this is where the confusion starts. If you're receiving a payment tomorrow, that payment is covering the next month, which means when the next month actually begins, you won't receive another payment. You've already been paid. Now, if you're sharp with your budget, this doesn't hurt you. You know the money came early and you plan accordingly. But if you're not expecting it, if you think tomorrow's payment is just your regular scheduled benefit and that another one is coming in a few weeks, you're going to be caught short. And that's when people panic. That's when they call the SSA thinking there's been a mistake. That's when bills go unpaid because the expected money didn't show up. Let me give you a real-world example. Say you're Mary. You're 68 years old. You receive $2,400 in Social Security retirement benefits every month. Your payment normally comes on the third Wednesday, but this month, the third Wednesday falls right after a federal holiday. So the SSA sends your payment tomorrow, Tuesday, the business day before the holiday. Mary sees the money hit her account on Tuesday. She thinks, great, my check is here. She pays her rent, buys groceries, covers her prescriptions. Life goes on. But then 3 weeks later, when Mary expects her next payment, nothing arrives. She checks her account. Nothing. She calls the bank. They tell her there's no deposit. She panics. She calls Social Security, and they explain, ma'am, you were already paid early. That payment covered this month. Now Mary's confused. Now she's worried. And now she has to stretch that one payment across what feels like 6 weeks instead of 4. That's the trap. And here's the thing. The SSA is not doing anything wrong. They're following the rules. They're actually trying to help by making sure you get your money before a holiday. But if you don't understand the system, it feels like a mistake. It feels like something's broken. So let's talk about why this happens and what you need to know. The Social Security payment schedule is designed around predictability. The SSA wants you to know when your money is coming. That's why they use birth dates. If you were born between the 1st and 10th of the month, you get paid on the 2nd Wednesday. Born between the 11th and 20th, 3rd Wednesday. Born between the 21st and 31st, 4th Wednesday. SSI recipients, on the other hand, get paid on the 1st of every month, unless the 1st falls on a weekend or holiday, in which case the payment comes the last business day of the prior month. These rules are clear, but life doesn't always follow a neat calendar. Holidays interrupt, weekends interfere, and when that happens, the SSA shifts payments forward. The result? Some months you get paid twice, other months you don't get paid at all, and that's not a glitch. That's the system working exactly as it's designed. Now let's talk about how this affects your actual life. If you're getting a payment tomorrow, here's what you need to do. Treat that money as if it has to last you longer than usual. Because it does. If you normally budget month to month, you now need to budget across a 5 or 6 week gap until your next payment. That means being more careful with discretionary spending. That means making sure your fixed expenses, rent, utilities, prescriptions, are covered first. That means not assuming another check is coming in 2 weeks. This is especially important if you're living on a fixed income. If Social Security is your only source of income or your primary source, then every dollar matters. And if you miscalculate, if you spend too much too soon, you're going to feel it in week 5 when there's no money coming in. I've seen this happen to smart, responsible people, not because they're careless, but because the system isn't intuitive, and because the SSA doesn't always communicate these changes in a way that's easy to understand. So here's the bottom line. Tomorrow's payment is real, it's yours, and it's early. Plan accordingly. Now let me give you some advice, the kind of advice I'd give to anyone trying to manage money wisely, no matter how much or how little they have. First, know your calendar. Go to the Social Security Administration's website right now. Look up the payment schedule for this year. Print it out if you need to. Put it on your refrigerator. Mark the dates when payments come early because of holidays. Don't rely on memory. Don't assume the pattern will stay the same every month. Second, budget for the gap. If you know a payment is coming early, set aside a portion of that money specifically for the weeks when no payment is coming. Treat it like a mini savings buffer. Even if it's just $200 or $300, that cushion can be the difference between covering an unexpected expense and going into debt. Third, automate your essentials. If your rent, utilities, and prescriptions are the same every month, set up automatic payments right after your Social Security deposit hits. That way, your necessities are covered first, and you're not tempted to spend that money on something else. Fourth, don't panic if you see an early payment. The SSA is not overpaying you. They're not making a mistake. If the money shows up earlier than expected, that's intentional. It's part of the holiday adjustment schedule. You don't need to call them. You don't need to worry that they'll take it back. Just understand that it's covering the upcoming month. Fifth, if you're unsure, call or check your account online. The SSA has an online portal called My Social Security. You can log in and see your payment history, your scheduled deposits, and any adjustments. If you're not comfortable with computers, call the SSA helpline. Yes, the wait times can be long, but it's better to get clarity than to spend weeks worrying. And finally, share this information. If you have friends, family, or neighbors who receive Social Security, tell them what you learned today, because chances are they don't know this either. And the more people who understand how the system works, the fewer people get caught off guard. This isn't complicated once you see it clearly, but if no one explains it to you, it feels like chaos. Here's why I make these videos. I spent my career watching people make financial decisions, some good, some disastrous. And the pattern I saw over and over again was this. People make bad decisions when they don't have good information, not because they're dumb, not because they're reckless, but because the institutions that control their money don't always explain things in plain English. Social Security is one of the most important programs in America. For tens of millions of people, it's the difference between dignity and desperation. And yet the rules around it can feel like a maze. So this channel exists to give you a map, to show you where the walls are, to help you avoid the dead ends. If that's valuable to you, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, because every week we're going to break down the latest changes, the upcoming payment schedules, the policy shifts, and the things the SSA doesn't always make clear. You've worked your whole life, you've earned these benefits, and you deserve to understand exactly how and when you're going to get them. Don't leave your financial security up to chance. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay ahead of the curve. So here's what you need to remember from this video. If your $2,400 Social Security payment lands tomorrow, that payment is early, and it's covering the next month. That means you won't receive another payment when the new month begins. You've already been paid. This is not a mistake. This is not an overpayment. This is the SSA adjusting for a holiday or weekend, and it happens several times a year. The key is to plan for it. Budget for the gap. Make sure your essentials are covered, and don't spend that money as if another check is coming in 2 weeks, because it's not. If you understand this, you're ahead of 90% of recipients, and that puts you in control. Now, if this video helped you, do me a favor, share it with someone who needs to see it. Because the more people who understand how the system works, the fewer people get caught off guard. And remember, knowledge is the best protection you have. Stay informed, stay calm, and stay in control of your benefits. I'll see you in the next update.